Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. I am your host, Jen Washington. This is a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. I would like to extend my gratitude in you listening to this podcast. It means everything to me, and I hope it is clear that this subject matter is so important to me. I care about our people, our future, and making a positive change in this nation. Welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. Today we have a special guest, Leticia Francis, CEO and founder of Blaque Rose Coaching. Leticia is from the UK and she is a certified life coach and certified mindset coach. She will share more about these services and how it may be a service to you. So welcome to the show, Leticia.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. Leticia, all the way in London. Definitely glad to have you share about these services and tell us about Blaque Rose Coaching.
So Blaque Rose Coaching is a result of soul searching for me. I was in a corporate position for 14 years and I was not fulfilled. I had reached what I felt was the pinnacle of my career. I was working in Lloyd's of London, which is the oldest insurance institute in the world. And although my resume read well, it just wasn't enough for me. So I had two children back to back. And in that time, I was out of work for 18 months. And I spent a lot of time just trying to figure out how can I take what is uniquely me in order to make money. And I have been a person who has been labeled too much. I'm too much. I'm too opinionated. I'm too loud. I'm just too much for people. And I wanted a way to make that my own, and coaching felt like a good fit for me. I had a coach many years ago and that helped change my life, and I wanted an opportunity to help other women, as I like to say, get their mind right so that they can see the success and fulfillment that they desire in their lives.
Definitely. And so okay, so you offer coaching. And okay. And so, I've heard some of your stories that you've shared online and some of your interviews that you've had an opportunity to do out on YouTube and such. And I've heard you say you've been through a lot in your life. Now, how much of your personal story contributed or inspired you to wanting to help others in this capacity?
My whole story is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. You've probably heard me share that at the age of 14, I entered into a relationship with a man that was twice my age. That relationship was abusive. That relationship resulted in me being stabbed. And the process of me leaving that relationship, I thought my life would be magically fixed because I had left that toxicity. But I had spent years before getting in that relationship and years while I was in that relationship seeking external validation. I didn't know who I am. Who I was, I didn't value myself. And as a result, although I left that situation, I found myself in similar situations repeatedly. And it put me in a place eventually where I was forced to face myself. I ended up in jail because of a relationship that I was in. And being in jail, faced with having to explain to my mother why I was locked up, she said to me, "Why do you love everyone else more than you love yourself?" That was, I say, a body blow. That was a dose of reality that I wasn't ready for. But I credit that to me seeking change. And in the process of seeking change, I worked with a coach. That coach, as I said earlier, really helped me transform my life. I was living in victimhood, as I like to call it. I was in a place where I believed that life was just happening to me, that I didn't have control of that situation or any situation really. Working with a coach helped me realize that I do have control of what my life looks like, what my future looks like. And by being a victim, I'm actually giving away my power. I'm actually resigning myself to
Mm,
the fact that I cannot do anything to change my situation. So the coaching for me helped me move from a survivor, which I think a lot of people glorify, to being a
mhm.
thriver. It allowed me to heal. It allowed me to redefine who I was, despite the things that may for others be something to hold me back. I've learned to harness what I call thorns, the parts of me that make other people uncomfortable. I've learned to embrace that. I've learned to trust myself. And in doing so, it's made me want to give back and show
Okay.
other women, particularly Black women, if I'm
Mhm,
honest, that there is another way, and that the
mhm.
narratives that we hold do not have to be the final narratives. We can rewrite our stories. We have the opportunity to change the path that we're on. And that is really what motivated me to start my business.
Nice. Now, that coaching that you sought out, is that something like, or is that anything like therapy?
Coaching and therapy are two completely different things.
Mhm.
Coaching is very action based.
Okay.
So you go into therapy, therapy is meant to help a psychological issue. So
Okay.
you go to therapy and they're really trying to treat the problem. Whereas coaching is, yes, you address the past, but it's more
Mhm.
future based. So it's action based. It's about, okay, we accept that your past has happened, but what are we going to do today? Today is a different day. This is how we're going to move forward. Therapy, on the other hand, I believe is it again focused on the past, but helping you deal with the present. How do you deal with what happened to you before so that you're living an effective life now? And coaching is, how do you take where you are now and take action so you have an effective and bright future? So no, the coaching was definitely not like therapy. I spent years in
Oh, you
therapy,
did?
years, and I always felt like I was unheard. I always felt like, how can I say this? Therapy to me was like getting lost. You're going to meet a
Mhm.
friend and you get lost. And when you get there, that your friend is asking you, well, how did you get lost? Well, if I knew that, I probably wouldn't be lost in the first place, right?
Mm,
Whereas coaching is more empowering. Coaching is more like, okay, this is where I am now. I'm asking somebody on the side of the road, how do I get to this place? And
right.
helping you get there rather than focusing on where you went wrong.
Oh, okay. So is it fair to say that you didn't find the therapy you received effective or beneficial?
I spent a lot of time in environments where I really felt judged.
Yeah.
I would say things, and, during that time, I was a child.
Mhm.
Late teens, early teens, I spent a lot of time there. And the people that I went to were parents, right? So they couldn't
Mhm.
understand, they chose not to understand my perspective. So I
Okay.
always felt judged. Working with a coach, no matter what I shared with her, it was never, oh, there's a problem. Okay, what do we do
Mhm.
next? Where do we go next from here? And for me, just that shift in focus made me feel more empowered.
Hmm. So it would be fair to say that you recommend or you feel coaching is more effective than therapy for people.
Depending on the
Depend.
circumstances,
Okay.
therapy,
Mhm.
like for instance, when I came out of my abusive relationship,
Mhm.
I needed therapy because I
Okay.
was traumatized. I wouldn't have been able to move forward without addressing the pain that I was dealing with.
Okay.
But moving 10 years along, I was in a different space. I wasn't being held back by my trauma. I
Mhm.
was being held back by my narratives, what I was telling myself, which caused me to be stuck. So The circumstances under which I entered both relationships were very different.
Mhm.
And I do think therapy is effective if we're going to deal with trauma and things like that. But if someone is in a place where they just don't know why they're not moving forward, coaching is probably a better option.
Okay, so coaching is more like having an action based goal. So let's go more into that with the services that Blaque Rose Coaching offers. So, like I saw that you offer on Fiverr, was it goal setting or something like that? So, some of the type of services that you offer with coaching, so that people are familiar if they don't really know what coaching would do for them or offer them.
Absolutely. I offer a range of different services. And like I said, because coaching is very action based, we
Mhm.
focus on the client's goals. So I have an accountability service, which I offer, which is probably what you saw on Fiverr, where I
Oh, that's
teach my
right.
clients how to break down the goals into small actionable steps. And then we put that into an action plan and I hold them accountable to the things that they want for themselves. I also have a power session where we work on one particular thing that is keeping you back. So I focus a lot on the things that I call limiting beliefs. We operate from a belief system. Every action that we take is based on the beliefs that we have. And oftentimes we do not take action because of our beliefs. So, for example, we may tell ourselves that we are not good enough. We may tell
Mhm.
ourselves that if we put ourselves out there, that people will not receive us. And as a result of that, that impacts our actions because our belief system is what develops our thoughts. Our belief system also impact our feelings, and our feelings impact our emotions. And as we all know, our emotions drive our actions. If we're angry, we act in a different way than when we're fully, present and happy. So it's always important, I think, to have self-awareness, which is what I teach in my power sessions, giving my clients an opportunity to see how their belief system are impacting their actions so that they are able
Mhm.
to make changes and then take action towards the things that they are looking to achieve. And
Mhm.
then I have two 12-week coaching sessions, coaching programs. One is very mindset based. So we dig a little deeper into the limiting beliefs. We address toxic emotions. So there were years when I lived in shame because of my past, the abuse that I endured, the fact that I allowed myself to be in these toxic situations. That
Mhm.
shame held me back. So working through teaching my clients how to work through the toxic emotions that keep them stuck. Also teaching them how to identify their core values. I believe that when we are operating from our core values, we live a more fulfilled life. And then taking that and creating a plan for the next 6 months, 12 months, so
Mhm.
that they start seeing, success in their lives. And then my other 12-week program is very focused on building businesses. I have a strong
Mhm.
desire to see Black women stop the sacrifice by being in environments where they are not respected, where they are
Mhm.
not valued, and taking the amazing skills and abilities that they bring to those roles and start making money for themselves. So that program is focused on,
Nice.
again, mindset, helping them align themselves with success, addressing why they procrastinate, addressing the issues that come up, addressing why they have issues with change and their fear. I mean, most people are fearful of getting started in their business, which is why they don't get
Mhm.
started. And alongside that, giving them a structure so they build a very solid foundation for their business, giving them the information they need to get really clear about the business that they're building, who they're serving, how they're serving, how to build a service or product that will sell with no hesitation, and really give them the foundation to build a profitable business.
Hmm. Definitely. So, definitely a proponent of entrepreneurship. Love to hear that. So, it sounds like coaching would be actually beneficial to someone's mental health. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I think coaching helps build confidence, coaching helps build self trust, self love, all of those things that are needed in order for us to see success.
Okay.
It's about learning how to step into the shoes of the successful person that you want to become. I show my clients how to show up as their future self today. If you want to see success in your life in 10 years, what do you look like in 10 years? What actions do you need to take in 10 years to see the success that you desire? And then
Mm.
start showing up as that person today. That's
Oh,
oftentimes the
wow.
bridge between our success. We stay in the mind frame that has kept us unfulfilled instead of
Mhm.
stepping into the mind frame that will ensure success. So it's about showing up as your future self today, and laying the groundwork for what it will be like to really have that success that you desire.
Definitely. Wow, that's really moving because that really resonates with me. I can kind of relate the 9 to 5s and, the financial services industry, like your past life. So, I'm sure we can relate to a lot of the same things with how that industry moves and,
Mhm.
the ups and downs and all of that. And I'm right there in that industry right now. That is my life in the 9 to 5 world.
Yeah.
So yeah, but one day it will not always be. You know what I mean?
No,
I
it won't.
definitely have aspirations of being an entrepreneur. So I definitely see the value of what you're doing, and I think that is awesome. And look, I need to
Thank you.
sign up myself. Look.
Well,
Look.
I have something amazing coming up for, so I would definitely send you over the information. I've watched some phenomenal women sacrifice their marriages, their relationships with children, their family dynamic, their friend circle to be successful in their careers, only to be later kicked in the ass. And I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Society seems to believe that it is okay to sacrifice all other areas of your life to have success in one area, and that is business, right? So your career, I should say. You spend 25, 30 years sacrificing, so when you are 65 you can enjoy the fruits of your labor, and I call BS on that. Why do we have to wait until we are too
Mm,
old to enjoy life, to enjoy it?
okay.
Because society is telling us that's what we should do. We need to get a good job. We need to be in a high stress situation. We need to give up our mental health to
Mm,
say that we have progressed up the corporate ladder. I don't buy into that. And that's why I'm
yeah.
so passionate about this. It is time to change the narratives. A lot of the women that I work with are successful in their careers. And if they can
Mhm.
have that success building someone else's business, building someone else's dreams, making somebody else money, you have what
Right.
it takes to do that for yourself.
Right. Totally. Wow. That's amazing because I know I talked to a business owner several weeks back. Him and his friend started a smoothie shop right in the middle of the pandemic. And it's just, who would have thought to start a food and beverage business in the pandemic, especially when there was like restrictions on,
Mhm.
but they did it. And they're successful and they're getting ready to open another location and have to kind of think outside of the box of that narrative, like you were saying. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's time to break that narrative. And I think the time is
Mm-hmm.
now. 2020 was a year of reflection for everybody. Most of us had nothing but time to
Mm-hmm.
reflect. And I think a lot of us came out of that with the realization that what had been life before COVID doesn't have to be that way. And realizing that they want a lot more out of life. So I think the time is now. I think it's time, and don't get me wrong, there are people that are in their roles that truly love it. They were made for that role. But most of us don't fit that bill. Most of us are there so that we can pay our bills and nothing more, right? So
Right.
why are we doing things that we do not enjoy? Life is not about being miserable. And the only way you're going to find fulfillment and happiness is if you take it. You take it. And you got to be ready to do that.
So, what would you recommend from a coaching standpoint that, was getting on the path to try to get out of that funk, and stuck in a corporate situation, unhappy and unfulfilled, for example?
Well, I always encourage people to spend some time trying to understand their zone of genius. And your zone of genius is your natural abilities, your natural talents, your natural skills, the skills that create a competitive advantage for you. They help make you unique, right? Most of us spend 10, 20 years cultivating our zone of excellence. And these are skills that we had to acquire so that we can move up that corporate ladder. When I was in corporate insurance, I had to get designated every couple of years. This is what I had to do. These are not skills that I ever wanted to use, but I needed them in order to move up in my role. But on identifying your zone of genius, this is what you were born with. This is what you love to do. This is what you would do even if you didn't make money. Start by identifying that, because that gives birth to a business idea. It allows you to step into something that you are passionate about. And I like to say often, that is your purpose. That is your purpose. You're doing something that you love by, using this platform to share with other people. So
Right.
what else do you love to do? What else can you do along that aspect that can make you money? That's the first place to start. And then start by making a decision to trust yourself and commit to yourself, because that is also important. This journey can be very difficult if that commitment isn't solid, if you don't trust the actions that you're taking. So figure out what it is that you love to do that can make you money, and then commit to doing it.
Awesome, definitely. And so, what is next for Blaque Rose Coaching? Or is there a book project, or what do you have coming up?
Well, I am getting ready to launch a group program. This will be the first group program that I've introduced into my business. There is so much power. There's energy that happens when people are working towards the same goal. So I'm creating a group program that will allow women, Black women, to come together and to build together. One of the narratives that I hear a lot in the Black community is that they do not have the support that they desire to build their businesses, or there isn't any representation for them. They don't know anybody else who started a business. So providing that inbuilt support so that you are not traveling along this road alone is important. And I'm really, really excited about launching that. But in the long term, I am also writing a book to go a little deeper into the story that I share about my abuse and my journey through my 20s. And ultimately, my big vision for Blaque Rose Coaching, I have an infinity to the domestic abuse victims. I would like to create a network of transitional houses for women and children who are affected by domestic abuse, giving them the opportunity to press restart and become completely self-sufficient.
Oh, awesome. Now, you don't have a podcast currently, do you? Or
No, I don't. but that is also on the way too. So
Is
then
it?
I
Okay.
started doing these podcasts. One of the things that I wanted to address is I had a fear of visibility
Mhm.
because I was scared of sharing my story. And I challenged myself. I don't know if you see the little tally marks up there,
Yeah.
but I challenged myself to appear on 50 podcasts on July 18th. And I gave myself until the end of September to have them all booked in. And
Hmm.
as of today, I have 58 booked in.
Oh,
And this
wow.
is my number 28.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm actually really, really excited because I feel like I'm being led down a path unexpectedly. And I do want to I want to start my podcast, which allowing women like myself, not just domestic violence abuse, but people who have overcome things,
Yeah.
to talk about how they went from a survivor to a thriver. I think that's so important. A lot of times we don't share our stories. So people who are going through difficult things often feel like they're alone. So this
Mhm.
process has really made me realize maybe that's why I have this voice. Maybe this is the opportunity for me to make a bigger impact. So that is, loosely on the way.
Oh, nice. I can see it. And then, okay, so we've got, oh, do you do some of the rooms on Clubhouse or,
Right. So I
okay.
have the app, but I haven't figured out what's actually going on here, if I'm
Okay.
honest.
And so I do it on my pad instead of doing it on my phone because that way I can kind of see it better because there's so
Mhm.
much going on, especially if you are like moderating a room with, which I do, with
Uh-huh.
some people sometimes. So interesting because and you could totally, set up a room about coaching and throw out a question and people could jump in and
I might have to
yeah.
hit you up in the DM to ask more questions,
Girl,
ma'am.
yes. Yeah. Totally. We'll have to have a one-on-one on that one because it's really kind of fun.
Okay, definitely. I will definitely hit you up because, like I said, I've downloaded the app and I've probably been in it 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
But I just haven't spent the time to figure out what exactly is going on.
So we'll do that. And anything else to share or let us know about?
I just want to leave your listeners with this quote. It's my quote and one of my favorite sayings. Walk as if every step you take is about to make an avalanche because you are here to change the world. And I use this because I really truly believe that our role in life is to make an impact. A lot of us struggle with the experiences that we have, but I believe that it's our responsibility to turn our mess into a message, our test into a testimony, and use our story as hope and inspiration to others. So I just want you to hold your head up high and know that you are here to change the world and make sure that every step you take is an effort to do so.
I love that. That's awesome.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you for sharing that. And we will have your information for your Instagram listed so that people can reach out with your website. Is that I normally would ask how people can reach out to you? Is that a way that we can reach out to you?
Yes, I spent a lot of time on Instagram. So Blaque Rose Coaching.
Mhm.
Black is spelled Blaque, but yes, reach out to me, say hello, let me know that you heard me somewhere, and we can start a conversation.
Okay, awesome. We will do that. All right, guys. Well, that will be posted. So please check out Miss Leticia. So
Yes.
let's be empowered by this message. And I appreciate Miss Leticia today.
Thank
So
you for having me, Jan.
welcome. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Take care.
At this time, we are going to go ahead and conclude this episode. We do appreciate you listening. We do invite you to follow us on social media. On Instagram, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. On Twitter, it is Woke by. The Gmail is wokebyaccident@gmail.com. And we are available on all of your favorite streaming platforms. please go out and follow us, share, leave a review, tell a friend. And every time you listen, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you again and take care.